Yesterday, the Danica Patrick Podcast put out a new episode with my girl, the Alchemist, Sarah Caldy, and I'm going to play a clip, a few minutes of it, like 10 minutes. Over 12,000 views in a day. People are talking about spirituality all over the place. Not on the news, though.
Welcome to the Pretty Intense Podcast. Thank you for coming by to listen. Today's show is a real treat. If you're at all into like spirituality or consciousness, this is the show for you. Or even just like how to live your life to achieve your highest timeline. The guest today is Sarah Caldy. She's a mystic, spiritual teacher and author. She goes by The Alchemist on Instagram and YouTube, and she has incredible content on the nature of this reality and how the universal laws play into our experience. We just unpacked what reality is: timelines, dimensions, duality, purpose, dharma. These are all big topics that we dive into, and it was just such a fluid conversation. We just kind of kept navigating and weaving through all of these very interesting topics. Oh yeah, plant medicine, that was one of them that came up at the very beginning, and the role that plays, the danger that can be within it, but also what it can show you. I loved it. These are my jam. These episodes are I just feast on them, because people that have had experiences and gained knowledge in the areas of reality that are more hidden or occult, I just want to pick their brain. So that's what I did today. Enjoy. Please hit subscribe. I really appreciate that. Grateful for you loving this channel, listening to this channel. The bell is for notifications when we have episodes come out. And gosh, let me know some of your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear if you've had mystical experiences or what you think about the episode. Me and technology is just, I don't know, it doesn't compute. Is there some universal reason why someone like me who loves spirituality and mystery schools and ancient, is there some reason why technology doesn't agree with me? I just want an excuse is basically what I'm looking for.
Yeah, because I wanted an excuse, so I found one.
Yes.
Because I see all these esoteric bros who love math, and I'm like, oh yeah? And I suck at math no matter how hard. And I use that and I lump that in with technology. And here's why we're not good with that. We came in to kind of section off that part so we could do what we need to do. And that stuff would interfere with it.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. And also, here's another weird thing. I don't know if you get this, but I'm really good at guessing numbers. I can guess distances, time, weights, heights. I can guess things when it comes to numbers, but when it comes to actually the math of it and the logical side, I don't. It's not a part of me. So I think maybe it's strong intuition and strong sort of psychic capabilities, but totally weak logical mathematical capabilities.
I completely agree. I've actually forgotten, it's left my memory, half of the stuff I learned to even get me to where I am today.
Yeah. Another one that's weird too is names. I'm just names are not my thing either. And sometimes I think about it from more of a spiritual perspective and think how names are they're not necessarily that meaningful. They just help us sort of identify and make communication a little bit easier. I was talking to Sarah, instead of having to go into the girl who has long dark hair and whatever else. And so I think names just aren't actually that important.
I completely agree. As soon as somebody tells me their name, it leaves. And so I started to assess that. And I was like, am I a narcissist? Do I not remember people's names? And I was like, no, I just know, I carry the information through very similar means as you. And names is very irrelevant to that.
Explain your process when you meet someone. What are you assessing? What are you picking up? And what are you trying to figure out?
That last part's exactly true. What I'm trying to figure out is where they're dialed into. Not because I'm going to go match them, but also to be appropriate. And so a lot of my journey has even been just making sure that there is a connecting factor, a very relatable factor. And so that's what I do when I'm like dialing in.
God, I feel like I am like you're my sister already, because that's when I meet people. It took me a long time, but I realized that I was waiting to see if I didn't know this, but I was waiting to see if what they were portraying matched with their energy, and seeing how sort of accurate and truthful it was. And then of course, like assessing where I go next. Do I want to talk to them even? Or do I, where do I go with this situation? Do I move to another person? What do I ask them? Do I put them on the spot? I'm an Aries, so I can be a little fiery. So sometimes I just like to prove a point, or call them out. So I realized that about myself too. I'm just trying to match up the situation, but I'm seeing if their energy matches their words, basically.
Yeah, and also I'm assessing I really like to catalyze people. So a lot of the time what I'm actually doing is just looking for where I can help them develop.
Do they have to ask for help?
Well, that's a funny thing, because if somebody starts talking to me at a party, for instance, then that was them asking.
Yeah. Literally, hello is an ask.
Yeah. If someone's following me on social media, if somebody came into my sphere in any way, then that's me saying, oh, okay, the universe. I've even had conversations that are super far out there at a restaurant, and the people who I'm talking to might not be as comfortable simply because of the environment we're in. And I'm like, anyone who's at a corner who overheard anything that they were supposed to.
I normally don't go too much into origin, but I don't know exactly where your spirituality or where your awareness and your knowing came from, or if you learned it, or if you somehow an experience you had helped you remember. I can binge on your episodes on YouTube pretty deeply because it's so clear and so confident and clear and tangible. So how did that all arrive for you?
So what happened was I came in with a strong knowing, but like everyone else, you just get gaslit into the program, right? And then my catalyst had nothing, vaguely had to do with spirituality. I didn't even know that my path was unraveling into a highly spiritual path. It was more so just I was very much in activism. I know for my channel, I'm talking a lot about super metaphysical concepts and everything from the highest plane of consciousness that I can access. But it started from literally me going to protest a lot, me being very angry, me working through a lot of catharsis with everyday injustice and pulling on that, unraveling that, because I like to use health as an example, because that's how I even became curious about anything. I was interested in health. I used to be a personal trainer. And I noticed that a lot of different people, whether they're sick and that's how they get into spiritual awakenings, or one way or another, it has to do with health. Because once you start questioning, hey, why is this in my food? Or, hey, did you know that this is in my drinks and stuff? Once you pull on those threads, if you pull on those threads, they unravel very fast, and they go whoa, what the heck are GMOs, And so for a long time, I was really in what I would call the bare bones of what later was, I understand, the preparation of, higher revelations of a path that was unfolding. But yeah, so I came into things, I wouldn't say super mystical, but yet I was always drawn to esoterica, always. And so I started kind of going back and forth in between things that very much every day mattered to our world. And yet at the same time, things that were so mystical, so cryptic, that it took a lot of studying and research and going back and forth with forums that I was interactive with at the time. Nice. So I came from what you could call mystery school forums. And, hermetics, hermetic initiations. And then I don't know if you're familiar with the fourth way Pure death. Yeah, so there's just a lot of different mystical information that I was exposed to.
On your own, or was it just sort of like coming into your reality through someone you trained or a friend, or were you seeking it out and you kind of like resonated with it?
I'd say both, because the more that I was seeking it out, and like being a part of like groups, very much mirror to you anything that you can find wrong, like which I try not. I try my best to take what really helped me and be kinder to people than my own path at the same time. That doesn't always translate, just because I straight up came from mysticism. So what I'm learning as a spiritual teacher, and even with my channel, you might see this, is I'm learning how to be nicer in my deliveries, because I came from no chill. We don't have like, you need to say this a certain way. You need to prepare me a certain way. You need to be nicer. You need to be this or that. So for me, I'm almost like what I consider public relations. I'm like, how do I take my journey, my knowledge base, my gnosis, and then create a bridge from it so that I'm able to make consciousness cool, make it understandable, yeah. But at the same time, I got that bite because I came from mysticism, and you don't dilute things. You don't.
By saying I came from mysticism, you're saying that that's where your teachings came from, was like mystery school teachings, was groups that were engaging in that kind of information or ritual. You're saying that's your sort of background to this information is mysticism?
Yes, but I still wouldn't have called all of that gnosis. Gnosis is meaning that it's fully digested, it's fully metabolized, it's a part of you. When I developed that gnosis, it was actually through mystical medicine experiences. I got blown open. My emergence into enlightenment was not at all what I was expecting.
Well, good. I'm glad you're telling this story, because the next question I was going to ask was, did you have some kind of initiation?
Yes.
Please tell, if you're willing.
Yeah. So a part of what I feel my purpose is here is to really help awaken the world into God consciousness or oneness. And what I was specifically shown, literally through every part of my energy field, very much so the physical body. Source, if Source gave you all of Source's information in your physical body, you'd blow up. You can't store that much information in your capacity.
Yep.
I was given as much as would not kill me.
Yep.
And nothing less. So because of that,
nothing less. I about short-circuited.
Yeah, I short-circuited. I literally short-circuited my meridians. And so after that, I was like in this weird wonky land, which I understand now is actually initiations after enlightenment, because a lot of times people think enlightenment is this like end deal, and it's not. As a matter of fact, enlightenment can even be looked at as a springboard. It's like, okay, you understand we're all one. There's, for people who are truly enlightened, put it this way, it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of like, it's the standard. It's like
can you define enlightenment then?
Yeah. Enlightenment is to understand that you are the other person and the other person is you. You're different expressions of Source. So
now that I've been spiritually awake for a small handful of months, and now that I know what I'm looking for, I have been finding plenty of people talking about tapping into God's source energy and feeling like they were going to die. This is exactly what happened to me. Like I spoke about in my earlier videos, I felt like I was going to blow up. But I wasn't doing any of this initiation stuff. I wasn't taking medicine. I wasn't on shrooms. I wasn't out there looking at all for an experience like I had. It found me, and it literally scared me. It scared me so bad. And I'm really scared for a lot of the mental health community out there who are just getting charged up as bipolar and crazy, but they're actually so spiritually gifted. They're actually here on very real soul missions. They're actually things called indigos. They're actually fallen angels and fallen extraterrestrials in their energies and in their soul. And they're getting attacked spiritually so that they never wake up and decide to make a change and score one for the good team. And just wanted to point that interview out because it's a good one. It's a good one.